If you're anything like me, you're always out for a good PC or console shooter experience. But between the mainstream titles like Fortnite, Call of Duties, Battlefields, and some strange indie titles, there's a sheer endless amount of shooters out there. But amidst all of them, there's only a few that really stand out to me. Either because they revolutionize an entire genre, or because they're just fun, fast, or unique. Now, a few weeks ago, I was just scrolling through my Steam library, checking the store for some offers, and just for anything to play really. And then I saw something I didn't really expect.
Holy Jesus! What is that?
On the front page of Steam, there was an offer for a 7-year-old game for about the price of 2 tacos. And the best part was that I already had the game, just on a different launcher. Now, the reason I never checked my other library for games over there was because I think we can all agree that this is easily one of the worst launchers out there. Origin, or just EA as they call themselves nowadays. The game I'm talking about has been one of my favorite games a few years back, and I thought to myself, why not? Let's fire it up, give it another go. And boy did I not expect this. Well, I'm not sure why, but as soon as my buddy and I joined the first online match, I felt like all the other shooters I was playing were just boring and out of fashion. I mean, I knew the game, I've played it before. And still, I felt some kind of sensation that the game rarely tickled out of me.
And relentless.
Now you might be wondering why in the name of God I would bring up a 7-year-old game, talking about it like some fanboy about speculations of the GTA 6 release and how good it was gonna be. Well, let me show you. Titanfall 2 has everything there is to offer to being one of the greatest shooters of all time. When I launched the game again for the first time, after about 5 or 6 years of neglecting its pure existence, I jumped right into the multiplayer and just got torn apart by the enemy team.
You serious?
Takar.
After playing a few rounds with my buddy, he decided to end things off for the night, and as I just had nothing else to do this evening, I decided to fire up the campaign just to make time pass. And let me tell you, I was very surprised by the campaign. While I understand that for most of you this might sound a bit odd, but for me this is a substantial part of every shooter game, to having a good campaign where the devs can either show off with some good storytelling, an immersive world, or even just give the player a glimpse of what they thought would be the perfect game. The story in Titanfall 2 does a lot of things right. It's not too long and exhausting like a visual novel, but at the same time there's a lot the campaign can show and even teach you about the mechanics, guns, titans and movements. Now, even though this game has been out for 7 years, I'm not going to spoil the whole campaign, because if there's even one of you guys watching this video that hasn't already played the campaign, take my word for advice and just download the game and jump into it. Now, I'm not sure why I had so little memories of the campaign. Either I never really played it, or just never finished it, but that this campaign hit me from out of nowhere. It just has everything a good campaign should have to offer, not being too long at about 5 to 6 hours, showing the different kinds of weapons and abilities to you, while not being too demanding, but also not just casual. After finishing the campaign and starting up the game the very next day, I just felt how I understood different guns and mechanics better, and you could really tell by my performance in game.
He's beginning to believe.
And this is in my opinion the greatest thing about the whole game, the multiplayer. While other games heavily rely on loot boxes and you getting the best guns and loadouts, in this game you can really get creative. You winning a gunfight just depends so heavily on how you can handle different situations, no matter what gun you have. In fact, I think that your most important piece of your loadout is never changing, because it's your environment and how you can adapt your movement to it. Being quick on your feet wins 2 out of 3 enemy encounters. Think of any other game in this genre like Call of Duty or even Escape from Tarkov. You can have the best movement and strategies, but if your opponent has the better armor, bigger gun, or even better ammo, you're just set to die. In Titanfall 2 they really improved on the importance of movement, while in Titanfall 1 you just had to equip the smart pistol and you were good to go. There's really not much of it left in Titanfall 2. I mean, yes, you do have a smart pistol, but first you have to earn it by playing with your normal loadout, and second, it just isn't as OP and we rarely ever see someone using it. I think this is mostly because all the other upgrades to your loadouts just feel so much better, and also the weapons itself just feel so much fun to play with. To me, this is one of the main selling points of Titanfall 2. You can choose how you want to play the game. Want to get up close and personal? Use a shotgun. They're good in close combat, but are heavily limited by mag capacity and reloading times, as well as range. Want to be a cheeky sniper and take your shots from a distance? Sure, use the Kraber and you're good to go. But good luck defending yourself when an enemy makes it into your building and executes you, because you have no chance of fighting his movement with your sniper. Want to shoot a massive Gatling gun from your Titan? That's your choice. You really aren't limited to any meta in the game, just because there is no meta, except from good movement. Also, if you take a look in the in-game shop, you can see that there's a bunch of different camos for your Titans and guns, but there's nothing that will give you any advantage on the battlefield, and I think this is just how a game is meant to be. There's nothing more rewarding than playing a few games with a loadout, having lots and lots of fun, before changing to a different gun and ability and having just equally as much fun as before. I really cannot think of any other game that does it as well as Titanfall 2 does. The game has so many different strategies to offer that all just work. Running up to an enemy Titan, pulling out his battery, throwing in a grenade if you have the time to, and then bringing the battery to your teammate's Titan or even your own Titan, just to extend the lifespan by a tiny increment, feels so amazing. Having your turret placed in a good spot where it can give you cover from behind, while you try to hit your next Titanfall, just takes off the edge from me every time. Play the way you want to play is the main title of the game, and I think this is just how every game should be. Now, there's a big story behind why Titanfall 2 is being pushed to new highs just now 7 years after release. If you want to learn more about it, there's a lot of information out there. But in a nutshell, there was a hacker that took down both of those games.
They're barely ahead of us. We can do this.
However, that's the end of the video. If you haven't noticed, this is my first video on YouTube, and if you made it this far, why don't you drop a like and say hi in the comments? Maybe you have a different opinion on the game. I'm really looking forward to engaging in some conversation down in the comments. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and have fun if you're going to give Titanfall 2 a shot. See you around.